verse 24 through 20 and 25. We see faith at work in the life of Moses. He was brought up in the palace and would have been the next Pharaoh, but Moses had faith to choose the right. Verse 26, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the riches in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 26. Somebody else other than Abraham saw Christ's day and rejoiced. Moses did. Verse 27. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 27. Moses had faith to act. Faith will lead to action. Many folk today are saying, I believe, but doing nothing. May I say, faith reveals itself in action. God saves us without our works, but the faith that saves produces works. Therefore, Moses forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is visible. Verse 28. Through faith, he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that departed, the firstborn, should touch him. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 28. Moses had faith to obey God. God said to do this, and Moses did it. This is exemplified in the life of this man. He forsook the pleasure of Egypt, went out into the desert, and came back to deliver his people. This is faith to obey God. Verse 29, by faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians essayed to do were drowned. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 29. Whoso, whose faith do we see here? Is this the faith of the children of Israel? No, they had none. When they saw Pharaoh and his chariots coming, they said, in effect, to Moses, let's get back to Egypt as quick as we can. We made a mistake in leaving. It was Moses who had faith. He went down to the water's edge and smote it with a rod, and it was by his faith that the water opened up and they were able to march over to the other side. And when they sang the song of Moses, the people are identified with Moses, but this was Moses' faith. Then we have the faith. The next section is or verse is entitled "The Faith of Joshua." Verse 30. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 30. We have in the life of Joshua the watch of faith. If you had met Joshua about the fifth day they were marching around the city of Jericho, you might have said to him, it doesn't look like you are getting very far. Why are you doing such a foolish thing? Are you a general with a whole lot of intelligence, but you are not using your intelligence? He would have said to you, you have forgotten that I saw the captain of the host of the Lord. And he told me that headquarters is not in my tent, but in heaven. I found out that I am not the general. I happen to be a buck private in the rear ranks, and I am to take my orders from him. He said to march around the city, and I am marching around. You just watch. These walls will come down. I'm following the strategy of someone who knows. In Joshua, we see the watch of faith, the faith to believe God. Generally, Joshua had learned that. And that concludes that section. Now we're going to move on to this next section. Again, this section has, uh, whoops,